Okay, let's get into it. For many of us, our smartphone isn't just a device, it's an extension of ourselves.
Totally.
It connects us, empowers us, and let's be honest, choosing a new one feels like a pretty significant investment.
It really does.
We all want to make the most informed decision, but navigating the marketing landscape out there can feel like wading through thick fog.
It absolutely can. You might think you're savvy, that you know the game, but manufacturers pour an immense amount of resources into sophisticated, often incredibly clever campaigns.
Yeah.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the world of smartphone marketing, pulling back the curtain on some common tactics they use that, frankly, can be quite deceptive.
Right. Our mission for you, the listener, is to arm you with the critical understanding to discern genuine technological advancements from pure marketing hype. We want you to make choices based on real-world value, performance, and, long-term utility, rather than falling prey to exaggerated claims or those subtle psychological ploys.
Yeah, get past the shiny surface.
Exactly. This deep dive is truly your shortcut to being well-informed about your next smartphone purchase.
Okay, so where should we start? Let's maybe start where a lot of the magic and sometimes the mischief happens. The camera.
The megapixel wars.
Yeah.
I always thought bigger number, better picture.
Yeah.
You see 48 MP, 200 MP plastered everywhere, heavily promoted as the ultimate sign of superior quality. But you're telling me that's not the full story?
Precisely. It's a common misconception, and it's where understanding the underlying tech becomes crucial. Think of it less about the sheer number of pixels and more about how much light each pixel can actually gather.
Okay.
What truly matters is the size of the image sensor. A larger sensor is like having a bigger bucket to catch more rain. It captures significantly more light, leading to superior dynamic range and much lower noise, especially in challenging low-light conditions.
So those massive megapixel counts don't automatically mean better detail or low-light performance because of that sensor size limitation. That's genuinely surprising.
Not automatically, no. In fact, advanced software processing, what we call computational photography, plays an increasingly crucial role.
Right, I've heard that term.
Yeah, a phone with excellent processing can often produce visually superior images from a maybe lower megapixel sensor. Take the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max, for example.
Oh, okay.
Despite being marketed with a 48 megapixel main camera, professional photographers critique them for often delivering only around 6 megapixels of actual usable detail under ideal circumstances. That advertised resolution can largely be, fake detail in practice.
Wow. And what about the multi-camera craze?
Yeah.
Phones suddenly have 3, 4, even 5 lenses, implying you're getting professional photography capabilities right out of the box.
That's frequently a classic marketing gimmick. Many of those additional lenses, particularly dedicated macro or depth sensors on more budget-friendly devices, they're really just there to tick a box on the spec sheet for marketing purposes. Their practical utility is often underwhelming, and sometimes sophisticated software can even replicate or surpass their functionality using just the main lens.
So they're just padding the features list.
Pretty much, yeah. Not necessarily enhancing your actual photo experience in a meaningful way.
And then there's the infamous 100x space zoom. Those ads look incredible. You see a tiny speck become a clear, close-up image.
They certainly look impressive, but the vast majority of that advertised zoom range is pure digital zoom.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Imagine taking a small section of an existing image and then digitally stretching it to fit a huge frame. You don't magically get more detail, you just make the existing pixels bigger, which inevitably leads to blurry, pixelated results.
Okay. Could you give us a few examples of how they phrase this deceptively?
Absolutely. Huawei's Pura 80 Ultra, for instance, claimed 9.4x optical zoom, but what you were actually getting was a 2x crop from a 4.7x optical lens. Yeah. Similarly, Google and Samsung often use terms like 2x optical quality zoom for images that are simply cropped from their main camera. And Apple's iPhone 16 and 16 Plus describe a 2x cropped zoom as 2x optical in, or even 2x telephoto, despite those phones completely lacking actual dedicated telephoto or periscope cameras.
Oh, okay.
So the key lesson for you here is to always prioritize sensor size and excellent software optimization over raw megapixel counts or simply counting the number of cameras on the back.
That's a fantastic breakdown of the camera tricks. And speaking of things that promise more than they deliver, another big one for consumers is battery life, isn't it?
Oh,
They're
absolutely.
constantly bombarded with claims of blistering figures over 100W promising 0 to 100 in minutes. Sounds almost magical.
And those astonishing speeds are technically achievable through high wattage delivery. However, there's a persistent underlying concern for consumers about overheating and battery damage.
Right, I worry about that.
Now, modern phones do mitigate this with careful engineering, like dual cell designs and advanced battery management systems. Think of a BMS like a tiny, smart manager inside your phone,
Okay.
making sure the battery charges safely and efficiently, especially with those super fast speeds. But it's telling that brands like Apple, typically at, 25-30W?
Yeah, much lower.
And Samsung, maxing out at 45W, consciously prioritize battery longevity and safety over breaking speed records. This clearly indicates a recognized trade-off between ultra-fast charging and the battery's long-term health.
Interesting. I've also heard about some subtle charging tricks they pull, beyond just the wattage.
They're quite clever, yeah. Some phones will display 100% capacity before they're truly fully charged, just to shave a few minutes off the advertised time.
Really?
Yeah. Others will start their charging time measurements from 1% battery instead of a true 0%, again, to make the numbers look a little better on paper. It's been about those headline figures.
Wow. And what about battery capacity itself? You see massive milliampere hour or MOS numbers like 5,000 millia. My instinct is that batteries should guarantee all-day battery life. Am I wrong?
Unfortunately, those spec sheet figures do not always translate directly into real-world performance. A large mAh capacity can be rapidly depleted by inefficient processors, screens that are very dim and constantly need to be run at high brightness, or simply poorly optimized software. The TCL50 XL5G, for instance, had a large battery on paper but still drained quickly due to an inefficient chipset at its core.
So the chip matters a lot.
Hugely. So when you're looking at battery life, don't just look at wattage or the mAh number. Crucially, consider the phone's processor efficiency, how well the screen is optimized, and the overall software. And remember, while fast charging is convenient, the more conservative approaches by some brands highlight a recognized trade-off with your battery's long-term health.
That's a great point about long-term health. Next up, the fine print trap: durability and water resistance. Smartphones are heavily promoted with high IP ratings, IP67, IP68. It sounds like they're practically invincible.
It's certainly marketed that way. The crucial detail, however, is that the fine print in the warranty almost invariably states that water damage is not covered.
Wait, really? Even with an IP68 rating?
Yep. Manufacturers will attribute this to seals degrading over time or physical damage compromising the rating, but from your perspective, it feels like a bit of a cop-out. You're sold on the feature, but then the warranty doesn't back it up if something goes wrong.
That feels deceptive. And the misleading protective glass comparisons. They always claim a new glass is X times tougher than tempered glass. Is that a real benchmark?
Not at all. That's a classic misdirection. Tempered glass is actually the weakest type of glass still used in modern phone screens. It's largely fallen out of favor years ago.
Oh, okay.
So, claiming superiority over it is, frankly, a meaningless benchmark. An honest comparison would be against industry standards like Corning Gorilla Glass products, which is what most people are actually using or familiar with.
Right. It also seems like the industry trend towards larger bezel-free glass designs might have a hidden downside for durability.
It absolutely does. Paradoxically, these designs, while sleek, increase overall fragility. Almost 75% of display damages result from drops on corners or edges.
Oh, wow. That's specific.
Yeah, and these designs, which prioritize slimness, can unfortunately impact repairability, leading to shorter product lifespans because repairs become significantly more difficult and costly.
So it looks good, but breaks easier and costs more to fix.
That's often the trade-off, yes. So our advice is to view water resistance as more akin to splash protection rather than a guarantee against full immersion. Don't be fooled by vague glass comparisons, and understand that prioritizing slim designs can inadvertently lead to a shorter, practical, usable lifespan for your device.
Got it. Let's turn our attention to inflated performance numbers. RAM, storage, and processors. Manufacturers love to promote high RAM numbers, 8 GB, 12 GB. My assumption again is simply more is better, right?
Well, yes and no. While quantity certainly helps with intensive multitasking, for the average user, the speed and type of RAM like LPDDR5X versus older standards, combined with the overall processor efficiency, are far more crucial.
Ah, the type matters too.
Definitely. You might not see a huge difference between 8 GB and 12 GB of RAM for everyday tasks, and for many users, 4 GB is often perfectly sufficient. In fact, in many budget phones, high RAM numbers are frequently negated by a simply slow processor. The RAM can't make up for a sluggish chip.
So it's not just the amount, but the quality. And I imagine the same principle applies to storage. They highlight huge capacities, but what's the catch there?
The catch is indeed the type of internal storage. They'll proudly highlight 256 GB, but often omit whether it's the latest lightning-fast UFS 3.14.0 or the much slower, older eMMC standard.
UFS versus eMMC.
This significantly impacts real-world speed, like app loading times and file transfers. Imagine downloading a huge game with UFS 4.0, it's done in seconds. With older eMMC, you're waiting minutes, like dial-up internet in your pocket.
Huh, right.
This is especially prevalent in budget phones where cost-cutting measures are often taken with storage speed.
And the processor, the brain of the phone, is that often the real hidden bottleneck, especially in cheaper devices?
Absolutely. An inefficient or underpowered processor is a critical underlying reason for poor battery life, sluggish overall performance, and subpar camera processing. It's a much more impactful component on a phone's cost and overall performance than even RAM or storage.
So it affects everything.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If the processor isn't up to snuff, the whole experience suffers.
And speaking of hidden costs, what's this about bloatware being a revenue stream at our expense? That sounds alarming.
It is. Many budget phones specifically offset their low hardware costs by pre-installing what they call bloatware, a whole host of partner-branded games, ads, and shopping apps.
Ugh, I hate those.
Exactly. These aren't just annoying. They consume storage, drain resources, deplete your battery in the background, and even use your data, effectively turning your device into a revenue stream at your expense.
So you pay less up front, but pay in other ways.
That's the idea, yeah. So the key lesson for you here is focus on RAM type, storage type, and the specific processor model and its efficiency, not just raw numbers. And definitely be aware of bloatware as a hidden cost that truly degrades your overall experience.
Okay, let's talk about the allure of tiered branding. Pro, Ultra, Max, Light, Slim. These suffixes are designed to imply superior features or specialized capabilities, creating a perception of enhanced value.
They absolutely are, and it's a powerful psychological tool. Brands leverage the success of their flagship Pro or Ultra models to make their slim or light versions seem more desirable, even if those versions come with significant functional compromises.
So with slim and light models, they're essentially prioritizing aesthetics over actual functionality.
Precisely. Devices like the rumored iPhone 17 Slim are marketed heavily on aesthetic appeal, incredibly lightweight, sleek design. But this thinness often requires smart trade-offs.
Like what?
Like smaller batteries leading to shorter screen-on time or simpler camera setups with fewer creative options. Sometimes it even means removing physical SIM slots, which can be problematic depending on your region or carrier.
Right. That could be a real issue. And what about even the top-tier Ultra and Pro models? Do they still feature exaggerated specs or unfulfilled promises?
They certainly can. Those 200 MP camera claims or 100x space zoom we discussed earlier are often found in these premium models.
Oh, right.
And peak brightness figures for screens, while impressive on paper, often don't reflect sustained real-world performance under normal use. It might only hit that peak for a split second. What's also fascinating is that even within Ultra models, there can be processor disparities. For example, Samsung's Exynos versus Qualcomm's Snapdragon in its Galaxy S26 Ultra line, meaning you might get different performance despite the identical branding and price point depending on where you buy it.
So you could buy the same named phone and get different speeds.
Potentially, yes. It's happened before. So what's important for you is don't let aspirational branding overshadow critical evaluation. Understand that slim designs can inadvertently lead to a shorter, practical, usable lifespan due to battery limitations. And recognize that even Pro or Ultra labels can hide performance inconsistencies that might affect your daily use.
Now onto the software side of things. The software update silence and the ecosystem lock-in lure. It's frustrating how manufacturers rarely explicitly state how long a phone will receive critical software and security updates. That feels like a critical failure for consumers.
It's an enormous oversight, almost bordering on deceptive. This lack of transparency leaves devices vulnerable to security threats, denies users access to new features, and can lead to devices becoming slow or incompatible with new apps over time.
Yeah, apps stop working eventually.
Exactly. Studies show that nearly 89% of smart product manufacturers fail to disclose update duration, which, if you think about it, can force premature upgrades, pushing you into buying a new phone sooner than you actually need to.
That's not great. And then there's the ecosystem lock-in, where brands like Apple promote a seamless user experience across all their interconnected products and services. While it sounds convenient, it can also feel like a trap.
It's designed to be that way. While the convenience is undeniable, this approach deliberately creates powerful lock-in effects where you're discouraged from switching to a competitor due to high switching costs.
Switching costs. Like what?
These costs can be technical, like proprietary connectors, think lightning cables, emotional, driven by brand loyalty built on that seamless experience, or functional, with apps and services designed to work better together only within that specific ecosystem. Think iMessage, for instance.
Okay.
So our strong recommendation is to always inquire about a phone's explicit software update policy, how many years of OS and security updates are guaranteed. Find that information.
Good advice.
And be mindful that while an integrated ecosystem offers convenience, it can also subtly limit your future choices and significantly increase your switching costs down the line.
Let's talk about the psychological games they play with pricing. Limited time offers, flash sales, classic artificial urgency. I know I've fallen for those.
You're not alone. These tactics, like countdown timers or hurry, only X left in stock, are expertly designed to trigger impulse purchases and exploit FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Definitely felt that FOMO.
The truth is, many of these are just marketing gimmicks that repeat frequently and may not be genuine, significant discounts at all. They just want you to act fast without thinking too hard.
And the ubiquitous psychological pricing, like $999 instead of $1,000. Such a tiny difference, but it always feels cheaper.
It's remarkably effective, isn't it? That leverages a cognitive bias where your brain tends to focus disproportionately on the leftmost digit. So $999 feels like 900 something rather than 1,000.
Exactly.
It's a subtle but incredibly powerful trick, making the product appear cheaper than it truly is. Everyone does it.
And the aggressive EMI options and installment plans, they make even incredibly expensive phones feel affordable month by month.
While convenient for budgeting, this tactic often encourages you to spend more than you can truly afford or purchase devices you don't genuinely need by shifting your focus from the total price to the seemingly low monthly payment.
So you end up paying more overall sometimes.
Potentially, yes, especially if there's interest involved, or it just encourages buying a higher tier than needed. It can lead to accumulating debt for a rapidly depreciating asset. So our advice here is: resist impulse buys from limited-time offers by verifying sale history and assessing your true need. Always round up prices ending in 0.99 to the nearest $100 to get a clearer picture of the real cost.
Good tip.
And always calculate the total cost of any installment plan, including any interest, before you commit.
Finally, let's explore the new frontier of marketing tricks. Unrealistic AI features and premature announcements. Everywhere you look now, it's snappy AI features with incredibly impressive demonstrations.
Indeed, but these polished demonstrations are frequently shortened and simulated. They create unrealistic expectations because real-world performance is often far less responsive and efficient.
So the demo looks amazing, but
Reality might be slower, clunkier, or not work quite as flawlessly. You're seeing an idealized version, not what you'll experience day to day.
And we're increasingly seeing companies announcing features long before they're actually ready for prime time. What's the strategy there?
It's all about building hype and anticipation. It influences purchasing decisions based on future promises rather than current capabilities. This allows companies to appear innovative and ahead of the curve.
Even if the feature isn't out yet.
Exactly, without actually delivering immediate, tangible benefits to consumers. A prime example is Apple's overhauled Siri Assistant, which was announced with much fanfare in June 2024, but reportedly won't even be widely available until 2026.
2 years later, wow.
Yeah. The key takeaway for you: be very skeptical of AI-powered claims. Look for disclaimers about shortened and simulated demos, and prioritize independent, real-world reviews of AI performance after the feature has actually been released and tested, rather than relying on pre-release hype.
Wow. We've really systematically unpacked how smartphone manufacturers skillfully use quantifiable numbers, aspirational branding, and those clever psychological tactics to influence your purchasing decisions.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
It's clear there's an information asymmetry, where crucial qualitative details and long-term implications are often obscured, sometimes leading you into what feels like a false economy or unfulfilled expectations.
Navigating this landscape effectively means adopting a truly critical perspective. It means looking well beyond headline figures and shiny marketing buzzwords to understand what's really going on under the hood.
Right. We encourage you to prioritize comprehensive independent reviews that assess real-world performance, to truly understand the nuances of technical specifications, to scrutinize warranty fine print, and to recognize these psychological pricing tactics for what they are.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, a truly informed purchase decision stems from understanding that a smartphone's value isn't just the sum of its advertised parts, but the holistic and sustained performance it delivers throughout its usable lifespan. So, when you're looking at your next device, what does truly smart really mean for your purchasing decision beyond the shiny marketing? What do you value most in that usable lifespan?